Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com.
Welcome to Past the Wire TV. I am Jim Gazzale, joined by Pablo Morales, a regular rider down at Tampa. Pablo, thank you very much for joining me this evening and chatting with me a little bit.
No problem. Thank you for having me, Jim.
So let's talk about you. Obviously, you've been down in Tampa for several years. We're riding in New York prior to that. Kind of give us a little bit of background into you and how your career got started and how you got into racing in general.
Sure. I'm originally from Lima, Peru. My whole family on my dad's side have been from the racetrack, like literally born there. My grandparents lived in the racetrack. On the barns in Peru are different. They have a little house at the end of the barn. So my dad was raised there. They were all jockeys. My uncle was a champion jockey. My older brother was a jockey before me. And then I started learning in Peru, but I had different plans. I knew I didn't want to be a jockey there. I knew that I wanted to come to the States because of my prior visits here. I see how much more amazing was the racing here. So I definitely my plan was to move as soon as I was ready.
How were you able to make that move? Did you have a mentor or, somebody that kind of took you under their wing and showed you the ropes here?
No, not really. I mean, I was lucky that my two sisters lived here, and my brother, who was just also got here maybe like a year before me, was galloping. So pretty much what I had was a ride to the track. My brother really wasn't familiar with anything or anybody either. He didn't speak any English, and neither did I. But it was in Miami, where a lot of people spoke Spanish. And he contacted me with an agent, and little by little, thank God, I guess I had a little something when I was a bug. Definitely wasn't experienced, but definitely a little something, where I started becoming pretty popular in the beginning of my career. And I was able to ride in Miami for a couple of months, but then I got into an accident where I had to wait a few months to start back up. And when I started back in New York, because our agent from there had already contacted me about starting my bug again in New York. And it was a pretty successful one, thank God.
Yeah, talk about the difference in, riding as a bug and then riding as, a regular rider. From a horse player, and, we see the notation in the past performances, but is there anything that you need to do extra or differently to make that switch, or is it just a timing sort of thing?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, when you're a bug, you really don't know a whole lot. I mean, I've been riding since 2005, and I can tell you I had no idea probably what I was doing. I mean, I knew how to ride, but there's you don't have the sense, because everything is a little bit of a rush. Everything is a little bit more loud, more aggressive. And as time goes by, you just get more comfortable in the saddle and are able to think, make your decisions better. But you do have the weight allowance, which helps a lot. I mean, when you're riding in the beginning with 10 pounds less than everybody else, and then 7 and then 5, of course, you get a little advantage there. So it makes it pretty equal, I think.
As you're gaining that experience, you mentioned when you first started, you didn't really know much. How long did it take for you to kind of feel comfortable and watch your confidence grow? Are we talking, a couple of months, a couple of years? How long did it take for you?
Well, confidence can go up and down. You never know. It all depends on the business. I mean, I had a ton of confidence when I was a bug. I knew, I had a little bit of issues maybe holding a really, really strong horse, because I was only 16 years old and weighed 105. So of course, some turf racing where horses pull you really hard or get out, get in, it will take everything out of me to just go around there. I said, even now, you still get horses that will leave you like that, but not even close comparison when you're a weaker bug. But I did have confidence. I was doing really well. I won some big stakes. People were speaking highly of me. So the confidence was there, but it definitely takes a few years, and it definitely takes some better horses to, when you start riding better horses and winning more, you start kind of like getting that used to the trips or what horses like better. You definitely need the horse. I don't care how confident you are. If you have a slow horse, there's very little that your confidence can do. You can probably do better than others, but doesn't necessarily put you in a winner's circle.
Yeah, getting the winners, getting the fastest horse. Is it just a matter of winning races and people recognizing your name and wanting to use you on their horses, or is there another path outside of just strictly winning that you feel like you took or other young riders could take to get those higher quality mounts?
I guess perseverance. You got to work hard. You got to make it count when you get the opportunity. And when people start seeing you winning, they want other people start seeing you winning, and it just, that's how you start gaining business from other barns. When you start beating them, there's trainers that might not even give the day, but you beat them enough times, they're gonna give you a chance. So it's definitely working hard, making the opportunities count, and just stay consistent. Can't win every time, but you have to keep trying every time.
You've been a mainstay at Tampa for the better part of a decade now. Obviously, I'd assume you like it there. What's your kind of favorite aspects of Tampa Bay Downs, and what's kept you there so long?
Well, it's a great place to spend the winter. We don't really get a winter.
Yeah, right.
And I have a family, I have wife and kids, and it's a good spot for them to go to school. The area is beautiful. The weather is nice. And in the summer, when I can be here, those couple of months that they're on vacation, they're with me too. So it allows us to be close and together most of the year, if not the whole year. And can be the weather, can be the area. And racing is beautiful. I mean, nice surface, nice dirt surfaces, nice grass surfaces. And I have some business that keeps me always in the top of the standings. So the whole combination works out.
Yeah. I've been there a handful of times myself, and it's one of my favorite tracks to visit. So I certainly get all that. Talking about the surface itself, in the horse player world, a lot of times we feel like Tampa is a deeper track. Looks pretty sandy when you're watching the track feed. Is that true? Is that how you feel when you're riding there multiple times a day?
It's for sure different. That this dirt here, you have to ride it sometimes not how you're supposed to ride your typical race. Usually we have in mind, like in Frescal Downs where I ride in the summer, and in the grass here, you have to save ground. That's very, very, very important. Safe ground, tuck in behind horses to relax your horses. Over here, some days the inside is pretty deep. That's why most races you don't see the jockey in front being right on the fence. And actually, even though he's a little bit off, the horse outside of him still passes them, which is inconsistent with other surfaces. But it seems like not every day, but most days the inside of Tampa gets deep and tiring.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. How quickly can you notice a change in the track? Is it, you can notice from race to race, or it takes a couple of days for something like that to develop?
It has to be race to race. Right now in Tampa, the good part consistently is the second or third path. So that's where I try to be before I try to find out if the rail is good or bad. You know what I mean? But after, was it yesterday? I finished second, and the horse that beat me was down on the fence the whole way. So later race, I was the one, and I stayed glued to the rail, and I won. So definitely you have to pay attention.
Is that something that you and the other riders will talk about after a race, or in that example that you just gave, was that something that you kind of kept to yourself because you knew you were in the one hole coming up and you thought you could use that to your advantage?
Yeah, no, of course. Why would I say that to anybody?
Number 1 is Mo Donegal by Uncle Mo. And they're off in the Remsen. As they come on for the finish, and it's going to be tight here in the Remsen. Mo Donegal. Mo Donegal bearing down on the outside. It's Mo Donegal and early voting, and it is Mo Donegal to win the Wood Memorial. And it will be Mo Donegal to win the Test of the Champion, the Belmont Stakes.
Is that like an unwritten rule to, kind of keep those things to yourself, or have you noticed like other riders talk about it openly?
Not really. I mean, it's your job to pay attention and do what's best for your horse. That's the little edge that the jockeys have. If you notice something that others don't, that's a little centimeters or meters of dip that can make a difference. So of course, you don't always have to be right, but you try to think what is the best for your horse in that particular race, in that particular moment. It doesn't have to be the same every time, but you have to ride the race accordingly. Is there a ton of speed? Is there no speed? Is the track deep inside? Is it deep outside? Every single horse has been closing from way out of it. Every single horse has been winning on the lead. Now, can you make the lead? Maybe not, but you want to be close because you know they're not stopping. So it's just little things that you switch accordingly. You already have an idea before the race of what are you going to do. Now the other factors happen through the day, then you adjust a little bit if you can.
Right. Every track has its little quirks and intricacies. As a newer rider at Tampa years ago, how long would you say it took you to kind of figure out the track in general? Is that something that you can kind of pick up on in the first couple of rides, or is that something that keeps just kind of evolving year over year, that you're still learning things about the track?
It varies so much that it's not something that you're thinking. Like I said, the main thing for me, it's I try to look for a little tractor mark that when they hire the track, there's a little tractor mark. Most jockeys look to be in that part. The rest comes as the day goes by, and sometimes it's not drastic at all for you to make any changes. So it's not something that you are like constantly thinking about. You're mainly constantly thinking about what your horse likes, other than what the track is. The track, you could use it in your advantage, but like again, the variations are sometimes so minimal that it doesn't matter. Sometimes it matters more where do you really should position your horse for his benefit, other than what the track is like.
What would you say, over the last, handful of years or your entire career, really, what would you say has been your one or two most, memorable races that, when you look back, years from now, you'll be like, yeah, that was one of my best rides and I'm really proud of that effort. What comes to mind?
Best rides. Well, obviously, I won a big race in Churchill Downs. It was $275,000 purse, and I've never won a race in Churchill Downs because I've only ridden there maybe like 3 times. So that was pretty special. The track is very historical, and in a tough race like that, coming from out of it, winning it there was really special. I was really happy about that one. And last year also won a grade 2 in Canada for Wesley Ward. It was also, I feel like, a good ride because I had to push my way around there quite a bit. So it made me look good. And of course, a great stake. And for a trainer like Wesley Ward, it was very, very special as well. But of course, my most famous one, even though it was a very long time ago, was when I won the Louisiana Derby, $750,000. And I was only a 7-pound bug. So I feel like I didn't assimilate everything that much because I was young. I didn't know exactly what was going on, and my English wasn't good. at all. Maybe I can say a few words, but so I was like, just everything was like a rush. I wish I would have enjoyed it a little more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that there'll be plenty of more opportunities on the horizon for you. You mentioned, obviously you can't win every race. You're going to lose obviously more than you're going to win. So, what's your mindset after each race? Do you just kind of put it in the rear view immediately and go back to the jocks room and start focusing on the next race? Or do you give yourself a few minutes to kind of go through the race one more time in your head and see if you need to make any adjustments? What's your typical process after a race?
It's losing is tough, especially when you have a live horse, and even if everything went perfect and you just got outrun, it's never easy. You never come back like, oh, like we want to win, and the competition is tough out there. Wins are not handed here at all. But I mean, you got to just keep them going. And yeah, it can bother you. But the next race, when the gates open, you're in completely another mood. I mean, I could tell you just on Wednesday, I started with a favorite in the first race and had a perfect trip. And I finished second. So I was like, man, this was my shot to win today, or my livest shot to win today. And then I rode another race, and again, looks like I can't lose. I'm in the front. Everybody else is riding except me. I go, boom, my horse stops, finished third. I'm like, oh, wow. So it does affect you a little bit. But you know what? I came back and I won the next race by a nose. Then I won the next race. I like in two horses that had good chances, but were not the favorites by any means. So you just gotta. I mean, even though nobody is happy when you lose, but when the gates open for the next race, that race is over. Maybe when you're back in your house looking at your replays, that little lingering of I lost comes back. But once you're performing, you're performing.
Yeah. You've been riding at a high level for many, many years. What do you attribute that to? What's your nutrition and workout and sleep routines like? How do you maintain that level of fitness and focus to be so successful for so long?
I had obviously luck plays a big part of it, and my natural physique helps. I don't struggle with my weight a whole lot. Do I have to lose weight? Yes. Do I have to shed water weight? Yes, but not to a degree where it's like, oh my goodness, I'm tired or I'm dying. Of course, I don't eat, or in the mornings maybe have a couple of boiled eggs, something that is going to keep you strong, or a protein bar, and that's that. And then I have just my regular dinner afterward. But yeah, I work out on my days off. What I've noticed has helped me a ton is I don't understand why more jockeys don't do it. I'm sure some of them do it, but I don't see them doing that often. Is I stretch and warm up before the races, like I'm going to a fight, like as a boxer. I don't just like go like this, and then I go ride. I really, really make a point to stretch for 30 minutes and jump rope and get my blood pumping and even breaking out a little sweat. So that first horse that I ride in the day, I'm not going to be cold or I'm not going to be groggy. I'm going to be ready to go. And that's how I've been for years now. And I've noticed this big difference. I feel like every other sport does it. And for some reason, riders, they're so used to riding and that they just kind of loosen up a little bit and go. And I think that has given me a little bit of edge lately.
You feel like that, kind of gives you a little bit more power in the late stages of the race because you're feeling loose and, your heart rate's up and your muscles are warm?
It benefits me. I feel like it benefits me. The stretching part is big. With jockeys, we are in awkward positions, squatting positions. We go through all kind of soreness and pain and pinching areas. So lots of stretching and warming up, of course, plays a big difference.
Yeah. The riding community has, been faced with a couple of, tough situations, some tragic situations early on this year with, an exercise rider at Tampa passing away during a training accident, and, another young rider dealing with some mental health issues. Is that kind of like a taboo topic amongst the riders? Is it something that, you guys talk about after the fact, or, even before something like that happens? Is it, the dangers of the sport, both, mentally and physically? Is that a conversation that's happening often?
No, we don't speak about that stuff. We know the risks. We know the risks. We know what we signed up for. Thank God it doesn't happen often. We know it's possible, but just like anybody else, if you see somebody crash their car and unfortunately something horrible happening, you're not going to stop driving. You got to get to work.
Right.
Same with us. And I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry. Same way with us. We really try not to focus on that too much. There's no need. There's nothing positive about it. So when it comes to accidents and stuff like that, of course, we always collaborate with whoever got hurt or whoever something. It's a standard activity for us to do a collection to help them out with, help them out for a little while they're out. But you would rather not really speak about that stuff even.
Yeah. As you look ahead to, some of the bigger days on the Tampa schedule coming up here in the next few weeks and months, anything that you're most looking forward to as we get into springtime?
No, just hoping for some luck, hoping to get some good mounts. I'll be prepared. So I'm ready regardless. Just hopefully getting the opportunities.
If there was, you'd have to say like your favorite type of race, like maidens or 3-year-olds or turf, dirt, 6 furlongs, 1.25 miles. What's your favorite?
I'd be lying. I don't have a favorite race. My favorite race is where I have a horse that can win. Those are my favorite races. It don't matter what the distance are. Long, short, when you have a good horse that likes that particular distance, that's all you need. You know how to ride every distance. You just got to get the horse that can perform for that particular surface, for that particular distance. There's nothing more fun than going out there with a good shot, with a plan in your mind and performing.
Yeah. What do you think about some of the new technology that some of the larger tracks and the TV broadcasts are using with the jockey cam, and having riders with a camera strapped to their head for a race? You like watching stuff like that? Do you think it's fans should be seeing that? They shouldn't be seeing it? Where do you fall on that?
I don't fall anywhere. Cool. It's cool. It looks neat as can be. I just wore one the other morning. Jamie Martinez asked me to put on a GoPro and my helmet to brace a horse because she was doing a little something for John Arnett, and I was bracing a horse for him. So it was cool to see. I think it's neat.
Yeah.
I don't really have a good or bad about it.
It's just whatever. It happens.
That's what it looks like.
You do it. Yeah.
That's what we see every day. So you see it and it's like,
yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I mean, it looks cool to us, but we're not flying around the track at 40 miles an hour on a 1,200-pound animal like you are.
Right. That felt a lot more blurry for us. It's like,
yeah, that's interesting that you say that, like with how social media, Twitter especially, is kind of exploded, and it seems like, all of horse racing is on Twitter, and everybody's kind of quick to criticize jockeys for their rides, and trainers for spotting their horses in certain spots and whatever else. Is that something that you pay attention to, or you just kind of ignore all of that social media noise?
Yeah, I'm extremely familiar with it. I get messages on a daily basis saying horrible things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but one, it doesn't really bother me, and two, I always respond kindly and not what they expect, and I usually don't get any more backlash after that, But
Yeah.
it does get a little ridiculous. I feel bad for them, to be honest with you, because it's just silly stuff, and they really, some of them really wish horrible things to you, to to the point of wishing you get paralyzed, wishing you die. It's
Yeah.
dumb. It doesn't, I promise you, it doesn't bother me, but I'm sure too not everybody's like that. I'm sure some of those words get to some people. Yeah, Twitter is crazy. I mean, you can say the most sensible thing that you would think everybody would be agreeing with you, the most normal, not aggressive thing, and you'll have 10 people jump on your back. How could you say that? So if you're gonna pick that, you're gonna go crazy. So I just I just don't. It doesn't bother me. I know I do my best out there. So I'm not against criticism. I don't think it's right to wish horrible things upon you because you just lost the bet. But what you gonna do? They're free of us.
I guess. What would you say is like one of your best assets as a rider that sets you apart from some of the other riders that you're going up against on a daily basis?
I feel like I'm a very good finisher on a horse. I can definitely push a horse hard on the lane, but I'm also very smooth and patient. I think a good attribute of me that I can think. I honestly think that when I'm out there, I'm cold head. I'm not feeling that adrenaline. I'm not feeling that sound of the wind and blah, 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 horses and loud and they're hitting you in the face. Feel like I'm pretty relaxed out there, which helps me make decisions better. Now, I don't know if everybody feels like me. I'm just telling you how I feel. I honestly feel comfortable out there, and that's got to be important. And when it's time to actually push a horse down the lane, I think I'm very good at it. I'm a good hand rider. I have good stakes with both hands. So I think that has helped my career a ton. Even when I was maybe not as experienced, my finishing on a horse was pretty flashy, which made people see like, whoa, like this guy can make a horse run.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think we'll leave it there. I really appreciate you giving me about 30 minutes of your time. Best of luck this weekend. Best of luck for the remainder of the meet at Tampa, and I'm sure we'll see you in the winner's circle plenty more in the days and weeks ahead.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate the interview. Take care. Love to everybody.
Nobody does it better.